being today first session of Azure. So before moving to Azure Administrator, we'll talk about some Azure fundamental concepts or the terminologies of Azure and basics of cloud computing. So first of all, what is Azure? So Azure is a Microsoft cloud platform. What is a Microsoft cloud platform? Then what is the benefit of using Azure? Right? So we have another prominent service providers of the cloud services in the market. Then why we should use Azure? The first foremost benefit of using Azure is that it is a Microsoft product, a well-known product from a well-known OEM. And apart from that, it has good integration with all your Microsoft services, whereas Azure might have certain limitations with integration on your Windows platform. So before moving to Azure, we'll understand the concepts of cloud computing, then we'll jump to Azure. So if I navigate to the cloud computing concepts. So what we are going to understand in this module. So we'll understand what is cloud computing, cloud benefits, and cloud service types. So if we talk about cloud computing, right? So what is cloud computing? So it is the delivery of your computing services over the internet, which helps in faster innovation, flexible resources, and economics of scale. Now, why faster innovation or flexible resources? So, first of all, you don't need to worry in research methodologies. OEM keeps on, or the service provider or the vendor keeps on researching with new things. It helps you with flexibility. It gives you the trial services. You can equip the service in fraction of seconds, and you only pay for what you use. You don't, let's say if you want a server, let's say with a 128 GB of RAM, and you don't want it for 5 years, 10 years, you need only for 5 days. You can spin up a virtual machine, or you can spin up a dedicated server with 128 gigs of RAM. You can use it for 5 days and you can scrap it. So you will be only paying for those 5 days services. You will not be paying for a year, for a month, or for 5 years, or you don't even to buy the physical server or buy these virtual machine. You will be renting it only for the days for how much you are using it. So here the important factor or the important concept we have with cloud model is the shared responsibility model. Now what does this mean? So if we talk about the on-prem environment, if we talk about the on-prem environment, in pro- in on-prem environment, you are responsible for everything. So your responsibility always retained by the customer. The responsibility varies by type, and responsibility transfers to cloud service provider. So here you can see who is responsible for what. Customer is responsible in this. Here we have shared responsibility, and here Microsoft is responsible. So information and data, precisely customer is responsible. And the in a cloud platform, whether it is a software as a service, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. And what are these three differentiate? We'll see the differentiation of all these three in the coming session, right? Now, in on-prem, customer is responsible for everything. So whether it is information data, whether it is devices, whether it is accounts and identities, whether it is identity and directory infrastructure, whether it is applications, network controls, operating systems, whether it is physical computers, physical network, and physical data center, everything is customer responsible. Whereas in infrastructure as a service model, Microsoft takes care of your physical infra. Microsoft takes care of your physical host, your physical servers, physical network, physical data center. You don't need to worry on that. You just spin up an operating system, manage those operating system, manage the operating system, manage network controls, applications, etc. You take care of that above, and rest Microsoft will take off physical environment. And platform as a service, Microsoft takes care the part of the operating system also. You don't need to even manage the operating system. You don't need to worry about the updates of the operating system, patching of the operating system, etc. Microsoft will take care. This portion is eventually customer's responsibility in all the platforms, whether it is a cloud platform or on-premise platform. In cloud platform also we have three types of services: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Then now comes the shared responsibility model. So, for example, if we see the platform as a service, so under platform as a service, Microsoft says that you will take care of some responsibility of identity and directory infrastructure. We'll take off backend management. In the same way, we'll take care of certain responsibility, and you will take care of the certain responsibility for applications as well as network control. In software as a service, Microsoft says still application, I'll take care of everything. You don't need to worry. Under identity and directory infrastructure, partial responsibility is also of us. The managing the underlying environment, Microsoft's responsibility is there. And certain responsibility you need to take care of user identity, user security, etc. So that is the shared responsibility model. Now, if we go on to Google to understand the shared responsibility model of Azure, you can see the same diagram is coming, right? Right. So for all cloud deployment types, you own your data and identities. You are responsible for protecting the security of your data and identities, your on-premise resources, and the cloud components you control. Cloud components you control vary by the service type, that is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Regardless of the type of deployment, you always retain the following responsibilities. You need to manage your data, you need to manage your endpoints. The endpoints means the end user devices, accounts, user accounts, and the access management, which user has what type of access. That is the shared responsibility model. Now you can see cloud enabled security and traditional approach to the security. So here security is a challenge and under resourced function. So here cloud technology enables security to shift commonly responsibilities to provider and reallocate your resources, leverage cloud based security capabilities for more effectiveness, use cloud intelligence to improve detection and the response time. And here you have very less shared responsibility with the provider. Provider takes care mainly of everything. You don't need to worry on a lot of things. Provider will take care of the stuff, most of the stuff. Coming back to the slide. Now, if we talk about private cloud, that is the private data center. So organizations create a cloud environment in their own data center. Organization is only responsible for operating the services which they are providing to their users, and does not provide access to users outside the organization. So only whosoever are part of that organization will have access. Let's say, for example, uh, Rajesh is working with ABC organization. Krishna is working with XYZ organization. So Krishna will not have access to the uh, services of ABC organization, whereas that is not with the public cloud. Public cloud is owned by cloud service providers or hosting provider, example Microsoft, Amazon, Google, etc. They provide resources and services to multiple organizations and multiple users at a single point of time. It can be accessed via a secure network connection, typically over the internet. Then what is a hybrid cloud? So hybrid cloud is a combination of your public and private clouds to allow applications to run in the most appropriate location or in appropriate format. So hybrid cloud is an option, it is not a compulsion. Now it depends upon what kind of service, servers, or what kind of environment you have, and what kind of environment you want to be in. So it is an option, it is not a compulsion. Now, if we compare all three types of cloud. So first, if we talk about public cloud, so there is no capital expenditure at all, right? There is no capital expenditure to scale up your business. Applications can be quickly provisions and deprovisions. If you use it, you want to use it, you will provision it. If you don't want to use it, you will simply deprovision it. Organizations pay only for what they are using. They will not pay for what they are not using. Private cloud hardware must be purchased for startup and maintenance. So whether you want to use it or you don't want to use it, you will buy a hardware. For example, if you want a server of 120 GB of RAM for 5 days, so you need to have in your private cloud in your organization, either you need to rent it five server for a complete month, or you need to buy it permanently, whether you want to use it for 5 days only or whether you want to use it for 1 month only. Organizations have complete control over your resources and security, and organizations is only responsible for hardware maintenance and updates, that is patching. Whereas in hybrid cloud provides the most flexibility, organizations determine which applications to run where, right? So for example, you have three applications: application A, application B, and application C. You feel that application A would run in your on-premise environment in a much better format, then you keep that application A in your private cloud. Whereas you consider that application B would be a best option to run in the cloud, then you can host the application B in the cloud. Whereas you think that application C has some certain considerations for performance, that's why you need to keep in cloud, but its data should be hosted in your private environment only. So you can have a hybrid environment for application C. So then you can go with hybrid cloud. So organizations control the security, compliance, and all legal parameters of the hybrid environment. Whereas for cloud, Microsoft will come has certain responsibilities, and certain responsibilities owned by the customer. Whereas in the private cloud or in private data center, customers or the organization is only responsible for every aspect, whether it is security, whether it is compliance, or governance, or any legal considerations. Now, if we talk about what is capex or opex, so we here understood that we know capital expenditure. So, what is a capital expenditure? So the capital expenditure is the upfront cost which you're spending or you are investing in the physical environment or physical infrastructure. For example, let's say you are an organization, you want to deploy your own private data center. So first of all, you need a space. You either rent a space or you buy a space, right? Which kind of space? Physical space, a physical premise where you will have your own data center. Then you need the equipments, you need the rack space, you need to uh, give the space a ambience, you will shine up the floors, you will mount the uh, ceiling, you will have ACs equipment, you will have electricity considerations, then you will have a rack, server rack, network rack. You will be laying the physical cables. You will buying the network equipments, switches, routers, firewalls, etc. You will buy the physical server infrastructure. Let's say you require 20 physical servers, you will buy 20 physical servers, right, etc. You need to equip everything, whole physical infrastructure. That is the upfront cost you are investing in the physical infrastructure, right? You need it today before starting the business. You need to buy it. That is a capital expenditure, the upfront cost. So cost from capex have a value that is reduced over time. So for example, you are buying a air condition AC that has a span lifespan of 5 to 7 years, but you need to spend it today. Let's say you bought three ACs for a server room, so each AC is costing you 50,000. So you invested 1.5 lakhs. No, that is upfront cost you are investing, but its value is uh, uh, realized within 5 years or 7 years. You will not realize the value and the today itself. In the same manner, if you are buying a physical server with 128 gigs of RAM, the server is costing you 3.5 lakhs. So you're spending 3.5 lakhs today, you are buying a server, but the server's values is going to get realized in 8 to 10 years or 7 to 8 years. You are not going to get the value realized in a day or in a month. Then what is operational expenditure or OPEX? So the amount spent on products and services as needed, pay as you go, and you get billed immediately. For example, internet connection. You require internet connection for your business to run your business smoothly. So you'll be getting a bill month on month or year on year. So that is part of your operational expenditure. To operate the services or to keep the services running, for example, you need a IT person to maintain the capital infrastructure. So you have bought 20 servers. Now you need team of 4 people to maintain those 20 servers. You need an electrician to maintain the electricity services. You need a networking guy to maintain the network equipment. So you need to hire a team. So you'll be paying them month on month services. So that is part of your operational expenditure. The routine day to day expenses which you are incurring to maintain the infrastructure, that is your operational expenditure. For example, electricity. You're consuming the electricity and you will be getting a month on month bill and you need to pay that month on month. That is part of your operational expenditure. Now, so cloud model is a consumption based model. What you pay for what you use. So cloud service providers operate on a consumption based model, which means that end users only pay for the resources that they are using. Whatever they use is what they pay for. So you have a better cost prediction. You will be able to predict how much bill you will be getting. Prices for individual resources and services are provided. Let's say if you want to buy a virtual machine, you will get billed for a virtual machine. If you want 1 TB of hard drive, you will get billed for 1 TB. If you are using 5 TB of hard drive or 5 TB of space, you will get billed for 5 TB of space. Billing is based on actual usage. Prediction is different, actual usage can be different. Let's say you're predicting that your consumption is going to be of 40 hours, but actually the consumption happened of 55 hours, so you'll be get billed for 55 hours. Or let's say your consumption was only for 30 hours, then you will get billed for 30 hours, but prediction can be of 40 hours. So it depends upon your consumption. Now what is the benefit of cloud? So why we should go with cloud? So we have high availability, we have scalability, we have predictability, we have good governance, we have good manageability, we have good security, we have good reliability, and we have good elasticity. So these are the some benefits of cloud. Now, if we talk about cloud service types, so generally we have three service types. So we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So infrastructure as a service, which includes all your physical equipment. So you can have a physical building, you can have networking, firewall, etc. You can rent servers, storage equipments, etc. So build pay as you go IT infra by renting servers, renting virtual machines, storage. you can rent network, you rent, and you rent even the operating system from a cloud service provider. So that is part of your infrastructure as a service. Whereas talking about platform as a service, you can see platform as a service is one layer above your infrastructure as a service, which provides environment for building, testing, and deploying software applications without focusing on managing the underlying infrastructure. So you don't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure. You don't need to worry in order to manage the server, storage, or networking, etc. The physical equipments. You don't even to worry about the operating system, or you don't even to worry about the underlying development tools or databases. You just bring your application, push it, and you are ready to go. You just manage your application. Whereas software as a service is one more above. Software is already hosted by the service provider. Users can connect to and use the cloud-based apps over the internet. For example, Microsoft Office 365, your Google Mail, any calendars, etc. So they are hosted in the cloud. Even you don't need to manage the application, you only need to manage your users and the data which is generated by the users. That's all. That is an example of software as a service. So if we compare all the three models, so infrastructure as a service is the most flexible cloud service. You configure and manage the hardware for your application, whereas platform as a service focuses on application development. Platform managed is handled by the cloud service provider, whereas software as a service is a pay as you go pricing model. Users pay for the software they are using on a subscription model. It can be monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. So that was basics of cloud fundamentals. Now, for today, I'll keep a hold here because if I start the next module, we'll not be able to complete.